pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Collins.
Here.
Baloo. Canton.
Here.
Van.
Here.
Amstutz. Here. Buxton. Everyone received the minutes from the previous council meeting. Any amendments? Hearing none, minutes stand as approved. Takes us to public speak. Sue.
Yes, sir, thank you. I am asking about the pickleball courts.
That is on the schedule for this
This
week.
week,
The court itself needs some attention.
Okay.
There's weeds growing up. There's low spots in that court.
Okay.
It's crumbling on the sides, and it really is not conducive to safe play.
I would agree with that. That was some of the points I brought up before we even did it, because same with the basketball side. What we need to do is we need to try to find either a grant or something to, the fence is all messed up also, the doors don't shut right. So that was one of my things next year I wanted to try to get completely wiped out and be done. That obviously depends on the money situation, if we get a grant or not or what have you. But it's definitely been a concern of mine the whole time. We'll still put the pickleball stuff up, but realize next year it might be tore down, so.
Not laying blame because I don't know how much funds you had or where they came from, but I tried to advise everybody that you can't just paint over that blacktop that was there and call it a pickleball court. It really is dangerous at this point. I drove by up there. There's standing water in the dips, and you will not get anybody playing up there, sadly, in that condition.
So you don't want the nets up?
Oh, I think you'll get somebody up there playing, but it's just not safe. It really is not safe. You won't get, let me put it this way, you won't get anybody of caliber.
I walked around over there the other day. It doesn't look new. I'll give you that. There's cracks in it and stuff, but elite level pickleball players probably ain't coming to East Canton anyways. But if the villagers can use it, then I guess it'll work.
Mhm. There is actually.
Yes, ma'am. What were you saying?
For the back court, there's a hole, and it's in the court itself, and somebody's gonna be playing.
Well, that man right there will fill it in,
Okay.
and it'll be done this week.
That's a danger.
So there's the same thing with the cracks. We've crack sealed that over the years, over and over again. It just keeps becoming an issue every year. If you go up every year, you'll see the cracks and keep sinking, holes will show up. It's very similar to a road, because the next point, that's old. Like, that hasn't been done in years, redone in years.
Well, we can fill it, right, Henry?
Yes, absolutely, fill that hole. Filling the cracks probably would make it even worse, because it'd be even more unlevel, because it's not, we don't have the leveling product to do it, so.
When there's weeds growing up, it's a serious cracks and problem. But we do have a silver and gold medal national winner from the pickleball tournaments in Florida, the Minto Open, if any of you are familiar with it, in East Canton, who would love to play in her own backyard, and she is not. Just to let you know. So if it gets fixed, improved, I'm sure you have a lot of players down there.
I can promise you that that hole will be fixed, and the nets will be up this week. The nets were on our plane anyways. So while we're up there, I'm sure we'll walk around and try to make it as safe as we can. I can't guarantee you that it's gonna be exactly what you want, because it needs all tore up. It does.
If you just pull the weeds, it'll look 100% better.
We'll weed them down.
Okay, that's all I have.
We're looking to see what it'll cost to redo it. It's been bad for a long
It
time.
has.
Wish you could just get some budgetary quotes so we can.
Okay.
We had a walking track replacement quote one time, didn't we? I
For the
remember.
whole replacement,
Yeah.
I don't know if we got the whole replacement. We had quotes to repair. We did that,
Yes.
but no, it's that's gonna be a pretty penny.
Because that way you're talking fence, dude.
Yeah.
And you're grinding all that out, tearing the fence down. The fence is all messed up. It's in bad shape.
I just, you could just know what the dollar figure is,
Okay.
budgetary numbers, so we can.
You don't have to.
Kathy,
Just want to let everybody know that the community center is having a casino night, July 19th. Advanced tickets are $10, and you'll get to see the new remodel at the Fulton Center, the Davis room and other remodeling they did. $15 at the door, and then there'll be an open house for everybody not too long afterwards.
When's your next Hope meeting at the meeting place at the thing?
The first Thursday of August.
Yeah, it's August 7th.
August 7th.
Martha?
No, these speeders, I don't know what you guys are gonna do, but I have not seen a police officer in our area. That kid, we clocked him at 38 in the 25. You know, people have animals out there running. I mean, there's no little kids, but that's awful.
So we have been doing directed patrols on East Nassau because we've been getting a lot of complaints up there. So I don't have the staffing to have officers everywhere. So we're doing the best that we can. You know, try to get out there a little bit more, you know, see what we can do.
I mean,
So
When, you know, is there I know it's probably speeding all the time, but is there
in the morning time,
okay,
about like time frame?
before noon,
Okay, so like 8 o'clock to noon, somewhere in there? Okay.
and they still park by the fire hydrant, but I
So I looked at that, and that's, the way that is, their driveway literally runs up into that. So legally, there's nothing, I can't cite them for parking there.
I mean, that whole street they park on.
Well,
You have to do like, come down, go this way, around this car.
right, I have no ordinances that I can cite them under for the way that they're parking, from what I've seen.
they're not across from, or there are no other driveways on the other side, right?
Is there a rule you cannot work in your car out in the middle, on the street?
I haven't seen an ordinance to that effect. There's nothing in the Ohio Revised Code, and unless there's a village ordinance.
Anything else? Cheryl? Anything else besides the, okay. All right, that concludes public speaks. Takes us to committee reports, service.
Under roads, spot repairs are all complete. We've started filling potholes. This will be an ongoing process. Had an issue with the light at 44-172. I'd like to thank PD for working with us during this repair. It's a huge help. Hung flags downtown area. The park, we had an issue with our new mower. Got it repaired and it's back into operation. It was one of our blades had come off. So they fixed that and returned it. It was under warranty. Issue with the Cub mower, Cub Cadet, it's still in repair down in Minerva. Skid steer is getting repaired at RBs, needs a radiator, thermostat, flush and fill, overheating. Had a radiator line break on the heater core of the parts truck, which is Mark's truck. We repaired that and it's up and running. Push valve on the urinal at the men's restroom blew out. Found out there were no individual shutoffs for them. So we had to install them to make the repairs. We're just waiting on the parts to complete that job. Began to spread the grindies at the park. Underwater, towers have been drained. We had a little bit of issues with that. The original plan was to drain it at the hydrant that's by the tower. That was not feasible, it wasn't gonna work. So then we had to figure out another way. So there's supposed to be a drain at the bottom of it. There never was from the start. So that was an upgrade that we did, upcharge, I should say, for that. It's about $3,000 to get one put in for next time. So we can operate out of that, which drains down to the overflow spout. We ended up buying or renting 2 pumps and a bunch of hoses to pump that out. So that is done and it's moving forward. And we got, we received some mock-up drawings for the tower and pass around, trying to see if you guys got your opinions on these. I've talked to the mayor about a little bit, Kurt, so see if you guys get any feedback on these.
How long did it take to pump out all the water?
6 to 8 hours. Wasn't too bad. 2 3-inch pumps. We also have the colors. The colors are picked for the tower already. We're going with a light gray for the whole tower. I'll pass these up this way. Those are the actual school colors that we have. The Sherwin-Williams transferred over to that paint code. You just give me feedback on that.
Yeah, the same technology.
Then I'll just continue on and talk about that in the end. Buildings, we had an AC line, it was leaking out here on our air conditioning, the copper line was fixed and Freon was recharged. Zoning, we talked a little about this before the meeting, some of us having issues with the grass and weeds at Dollar General. The employees have no control over this issue. They complete work to be done sheets and turn that in and wait on a response. They hardly ever get responses back. We have mowed this property and sent a bill in the past. Working with the employees to resolve this matter at the time. I feel this is an ongoing problem. With that being said, our zoning book does state that nothing at or above 8 inches. This company is aware of that problem. So with council's approval, I'd like to act on the matter and mow the property anytime it exceeds at or exceeds 8 inches as stated in our zoning book. That's all I have for
That's a good idea. We've had a lot of complaints about that
Absolutely.
property. And what I was thinking was they applied for and we granted them a permit to sell beer, right?
Dollar General.
No,
They don't sell beer.
The Family Dollar does.
Family
yeah.
Dollar,
Yeah.
oh, damn. I was
But
gonna
they
say
mow
we
their
could hold that
grass.
over their head.
So we can mow it and continue just to send the bill or put a lien on the property. Now, it's just weird how it's set up. So it's not Dollar General Corporation we're billing. There's owners
Mhm.
that we bill to, plus there's renters, and it's just a long process. But at the end of the day, if it ever closes up or something, we're gonna get our money eventually. But
Well, they agitate us, that we can agitate them.
I'm just gonna mow and continue. So I'm not gonna keep giving them 7 days, 7 days, 7 days. Once it gets to 8 inches, I give a notice. 7 more days is even taller, and then we gotta go down and mow it anyway. It's harder on our equipment, it's harder on our guys. So I think just once it hits that 8 inch threshold, we'll just mow it and bill, if that's okay with council.
Have they shown any initiative to mow it or?
No, the employees have, they've showed me their worksheets that they turn in, and they get no replies. Nobody ever sends me nothing back. I did talk to the manager today. She finally found a number, she got to dig through emails and get it, that I can reach out to somebody, which is good, so I don't have to keep bugging them. I can reach out to somebody that's gonna get something done, hopefully, but I don't even know it that well.
Whoever owns that place doesn't care.
No.
Correct.
I mean, they have broken furnaces in the winter. They
And
don't
they'll wait
fix
for
them.
years. They don't care.
No air conditioning in the summer?
Yeah, places.
They had the exits there on Noble Street. There's a lake on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got Berlin and Milton on the one side and the other.
So is there any opinions on which way we wanna look at that tower?
My preference is the top.
The first one?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Which way's the cheapest?
I don't think.
It's all the same, it's all the same.
If you paint it, it'd be cheaper.
You want-
Yeah.
You want to hang up there?
So with that being said, I mean, that was the one that I had liked and David liked, so I want to make sure you guys were good with that anyways, and you guys all picked it anyway, so that'll all face the stadium, that East Canton and the Hornet will be above the Hornets. So it'll all be facing the stadium. Some of these drawings were facing the opposite way towards 44 and things, so.
When did they need to know that by?
We got plenty of time. They're still painting the inside,
Oh,
so,
I mean, so they're actively working on it right now.
yes.
Do they have a timeline for it?
First full week of August, they're supposed to be done with it.
So have it back online, good to go before school starts back?
Supposed to, yes.
does it look like they're gonna make it, or are they behind?
I can't really say that. I show up, sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. I call and see what they're at. Well, it's gonna rain, so we're not showing up, or
Yeah.
blah, 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 or we had something going on, or this broke.
How's their billing going? Are they billing for not showing up? Are they billing for equipment sitting there?
Haven't got a single bill yet, so.
Yeah, wait till
Can't
the
answer
end.
that. Yeah.
I mean, if it's like anything else, the equipment's sitting there and they're billing for it by the hour every day, even if they're there or not.
So I try to stay on. I call and I show you the phone, or I call the guy all the time, see, you gonna work today? And he comes up with the excuse if something broke down, or.
So
Bottom
we're
line
having
is
problems with them.
somewhat, but I mean, they got a deadline to meet. So, I mean, they gotta meet that deadline. I feel somewhat responsible for it, but we also have an engineer that's overseeing this, so, and an inspector. So I don't wanna overstep my boundaries, step on too many toes. I'm just trying to keep communication clear and make sure it's moving.
Yeah.
If them guys don't answer, I make sure I call the company or I call the inspector, with the engineer and talk to them. They're not communicating, then they start communicating again. So I'm trying to stay on it, but at the end of the day, it's not really,
Well, it's construction.
yes. Yeah. Any other questions you wanna, for me? I'll just pass that around.
Has there been any more vandalism up at the park?
No, the push button was not vandalism. It happened, the weekend they had the farmer's market. And it's old. It's the same push button. It's been there for years and it just fine, just popped off, that's all.
But no more toilet problems or light problems?
Not since
or-
the lights got beat out.
Has everything been fixed?
Yes. Now, the one
Replaced?
urinal's not. The one urinal that I talked about tonight is not fixed yet because we're waiting on a part to come in. But everything else is up in operation other than that one urinal. We're gonna decide, probably next meeting, I'll probably ask you about the stainless steel urinals and toilets that we have a quote on.
Prison stuff.
Yes.
What's the quote?
It's, without saying exact, it's right around, I'd say 9,000, close to 9,000 compared to 10,000 for 3 toilets. I'll have a breakdown for you. I gotta call and talk to them a little more before next meeting.
Chief?
Everything on lockdown.
But they can't break them.
No, no. Me with the bat, they're just gonna ding them up.
Yeah.
Now, there is mechanisms for flush, like the automatic flushing. When you get real serious, you probably bang them up, but the toilets themselves, no.
Farmer's market thing was pretty nice.
It was. I heard it was a real good turnout. I was real pleased with it. I think having it at the park was better than shutting streets down.
Oh, yeah, plenty of parking.
I
It
have a
was nice.
question for that. She's advertising another one in July and she's charging people $10. Who gets that $10?
I did not know she was trying to.
She's charging people to set up $10.
Okay, well, that's something the council had to talk about. That's something they want to address or let go or.
It makes you think that they're paying to use the area for. the
They're definitely not paying to use it.
I know, but yeah, but she's advertising $10 a spot.
What's the money for?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Put in their pocket.
Is
That's
that
I mean,
something you-
that's
I
the
mean-
problem is the thing was nice. I mean, it was cool to have. There was a lot of people. I think they enjoyed it. There's a bunch of different little things. I don't know I don't know that anybody really has any cost involved. I mean, the park's free to use.
It's free advertisement
Everyone
on
had,
Facebook. I don't.
everyone had generators,
Mhm.
for the food and drink
Who
trucks.
sponsored that, Kathy?
Molly Peterson. She's at Canton.
I know who she is,
Is that the total amount?
but it wasn't like that money didn't go to some.
It doesn't
company
say.
or something?
It doesn't say that
Is
the
this
$10
something
fee
you need
goes to.
to call and
like,
address and
they
ask
have-
questions?
It's a council.
The adoption,
Okay.
Stark County Adoption Agency.
When they asked
has their-
permission to use it,
Now,
there was
you know,
no.
if
They didn't say we were
that's-
going
They were
to.
showing
Go over
us
that.
something.
She should
That's
say
not
that.
brought up. I didn't know till tonight.
We just,
I had some kind
in
of
the parks,
corporation.
No, she's
baseball,
private.
softball, the park's dead. I mean, it's just a good place to have it.
Yeah.
And there's probably another thing you can look at too, like if you start on that, then with softball, the softball charges for each team to come in and play in a tournament.
Yeah,
They have
but
a
that's
tournament.
different.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
you start stepping on one toe, you're gonna still have to step on a lot, is what I'm saying.
If she's charging money though, that should go to keep up the park.
Well, softball and Little League are they both have.
They both have tournaments, charge each team to do it. So I don't know if
So they can use.
So where does that money go?
back into the softball or baseball, don't come to
Okay.
us. We don't, as far as I know, we don't receive a dime for anybody that used that park for any reason.
No,
Except for renting the pavilion.
But yes,
Right.
correct.
but that's different.
But if she's charging, that should go to the upkeep of the park or
But
something.
like I was telling Dave, if we do that, then we gotta start knocking on softball's doors and baseball's doors when they have tournaments or they start charging for that. So I guess it's up to council to see what toes we wanna step on, what toes we don't. I mean, I don't.
Or where that money's going.
The first-
Maybe a
Yeah,
conversation.
a conversation. Let's just have a conversation with Ms. Peterson and just, 'cause I'm sure there's probably costs associated with such a thing, but I don't know what those are.
Okay.
I think it'd be good for transparency reasons for them to show what the costs are.
Okay.
And where those funds are going towards, and then the discussion can be had. And
I'll reach out to her though.
I'd like to see it continue and get bigger.
Yeah, I think it was a good thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, I'll find that out.
While we're on service, there was a request at the last council meeting that was tabled because I was not here and
Yeah,
Henry
yeah.
was not here. So let's address that request if
Yeah.
council is okay.
Was that about the water?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a request from Jack DePietro for DePietro excavating.
Rob wanted a table to talk to Henry, so I don't know, did Rob ever reach out to you? Well, me and the mayor and I went and spoke with Henry.
Okay.
Do you want me to explain it at all, or kind of on my end how it went down, or?
I mean, you can. I don't think that's waste a whole lot of time.
No, it's not, it's pretty cut and dry. So we get OPS markings for digs. The first OPS marking was supposed to be done on the 16th. I missed that OPS marking because of whatever reason. I'm not making an excuse. I received one on the 17th, early in the morning. When I first get there, I check my emails. For some reason, I missed the first one. The second one come through early. I opened it up. As I was opening it up, printing it off, Dave had texted me, "Hey, can you take care of this?" And he sent me the verbatim what was sent to him. I said, "I'm taking care of it now." So I went up there probably around 7:30. They were already digging. So me and one of my coworkers went up. They were digging. I located the line. I'm standing there. I said, "All right, go back and get the flags out of the truck." Well, the flags were in the truck. I had to go to the other truck because we were out of flags. So while he was gone, they were still digging. And I was standing there waiting to mark it, standing over top the line where the shutoff is. They were digging, they hit the line. Then it was a running joke that blah, blah, blah. I won't go into great detail, but nothing was said. Time goes on. I ride around with the company and get quotes for different jobs that I had them do. The jobs were completed, everything was fine. And then we get this. So that's kind of where we're at. That's the whole.
Her whole beef was, I think she called wasn't that the deal? She called the ticket in, waited and waited, nobody marked it. And then after what, a couple weeks, wasn't it?
No, it's 2 days.
Oh,
3
it's
days.
just
Yeah, it's the
3
third
days.
day.
So you get the OPS marking, you got 2 days to get it. Okay, the final day was the 16th. That's the one I'm talking about on this.
Yeah.
Then they sent out another one. And as they sent it out, apparently they must have sent Dave the text.
Yeah, they submitted it the afternoon of the 16th. I think it was closer to 3 o'clock on the
I
16th.
was already gone, so I got in the
Yeah.
morning.
The
The
second.
second one, yeah.
And no line was broke at that time.
Yeah.
And then the morning of the 17th is when Bill reached out to me. And I immediately forwarded that information to Henry and asked him to make sure he took care. And then he went straight down there. So that's basically what happened. The only struggle I have with this is the communication, because if it was expected that the village would take care of the costs, then the village should have been given the opportunity to decide who performed the work. As a company, you can't decide who's going to perform the work and then say, "Hey, here's a bill." That is my only issue with the whole situation. I think we did miss the first, and
Yeah.
that's
And nothing was hit at that time.
right.
It got hit as we were standing there marking the second one.
So
And it was a.
So they could have stopped digging
They
and
should
let
have.
you mark your main.
Yes, I mean, I was literally.
But they didn't.
Correct.
You're standing there, they don't know
Waiting
where
on
the
the
main
truck to get
is.
back with the flags.
Guy in the hose digging, he could have set the bucket down and said, "Okay, this guy, let him mark it here before I rip it out." But no, they ripped it out before you, who were
Correct.
standing there to do it, could mark it.
Correct.
Well,
But we,
that's,
that's, I think the thing is we missing the first one. If we'd have had it marked, then we aren't in this boat at all.
right.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
correct.
So why couldn't they say, you know what, all right, they're here. We'll just take a break for 15 minutes, get it marked off and
Yeah.
then start over. So I
And
think
just so
there's,
you know, this isn't the first, OPS marking over all the years that I've worked here that's been missed. You'll get a second OPS marking just like we did on this one to go out and mark, because it happens all the time. I can show you my emails and how much I've got, especially with the polls going in right now. There's a ton of them. And then you gotta refer to the book. Sometimes they ain't in the book. Sometimes they're in the book and they've already changed the line. Nobody put it in the book. Changed the line. I think you were a part of that one, like the book was wrong.
yeah, that was the deal there.
Yeah. So you run into these things, and then as that day goes on, emails get buried. It's not just like OPS markings all day long. So my remedy to this issue is to have Phil come in and separate all my OPS markings, separate from the email. So they'll come up in a separate email. Now, that's my remedy to this problem, because I will admit that I miss the OPS marking. Now, I've missed plenty in the past. All of us have. You just get the other notice and you get it.
Yeah,
The only difference is normal people don't dig
before they get
before
marked.
it's marked, no matter if it's 3 days later, 4 days later.
That's kind of the rule.
I mean, it's what was gas.
Well, this is what I've always done for a living. The rule is you don't dig unless there's marks. Well, you called marks and they're not there. That don't mean you go out and dig because they're late. If
And we wait all the time. all
say
the
there's
time, water breaks and
a
everything.
T3 fiber line coming through East Canton and I called to get it marked and I dig before it's marked, it's on me because I dug with no marks.
And
Later
my biggest
on,
thing too is
You wait till it's marked.
I offered to even like a part to them to fix it. Like it also was a service line. All I had to do was cut copper and join it together with some
Yeah.
couplings. That's it. I mean, that's all it was.
Is there a timeline, Kurt, where you want something marked to dig? Have you run into that? And, well, they didn't meet the timeline, so you dig anyways on them.
Very seldom.
I mean, with important stuff, that
If we
don't
know there-
exist.
If we know there's
period.
fiber or anything like that, we won't dig with it without it being marked.
Yeah,
And there is times it's like, but I will admit that we missed the first one. We did. We did. I'm not trying to cover that.
And they are an established East Canton business. Sometimes just for goodwill, things should be considered. I'm not telling council which way to go. I said, my only point is that I wish we'd have been given the opportunity to make the repairs ourselves or decide who's gonna make the repairs if the expectation would be that the village is paying for it. That is my only thought.
well, the fact that he was standing there ready to mark it and they wouldn't stop digging and hit it before he could bend over and mark it, I know we got some bad blood there, but that's not cool.
I have a question, and Derek, you may know the answer to this more than Henry, but if Henry if it's still a thing, has the authority to red tag a project, could he have red tagged that because it wasn't flagged at that point?
He doesn't have the authority
Yeah.
to do that.
Okay.
No.
So there is a standing request. And I think it's important that, I'm not telling council what to do, but I think it's important to have some kind of resolution to it. So what are your thoughts on resolution?
Like I say, I mean, I think this time we help them out, but I mean, at this point, moving forward, especially if our guys are there.
How about we say we'll pay half of it? I just don't, just me personally, and I don't know what the legalities of it would be, but
But I don't work in that world. I don't know.
you got a guy standing there to mark something and you're such a whatever that you decide, you know what, screw this guy, I'm gonna dig here anyways, and you bust what he's there to mark. That ain't too kosher.
Josh, any thoughts?
It's a balance.
What's that?
So, you know,
808.
808.
808.85.
More money than I give the village last year for my taxes.
Well, I mean, if I put myself in issues, I would have stopped and waited.
I mean,
That's, to me, that's like,
yeah,
he showed up, he's late, but he showed up, so
he's standing right
how
there.
much of a hurry were they in to get it done?
What do you think, Paul, Dan?
Hang the guys that pull up pipe.
You know,
I think
They'll
that's a
teach you
little-
not to do it again.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to throw mud here.
No
That's
Clint
not
Eastwood stuff.
what we're trying to accomplish. I think we just have to have a resolution to a request, right? If that resolution of council is a majority says that, there's no payment to be had, then that's the decision, but I just think it's,
To pay him in fulls to say, yeah, no big deal, you can do that again.
you're right. Well,
And
then what about, we missed, if we'd have saw the first email, marked it, this isn't a conversation.
Correct. Because it would have been marked.
But they also, yes, they could have, if you were standing there, they could have stopped digging for 20 minutes, taken a
Oh, we
break,
took that.
and we wouldn't be having this conversation. Well, let's just split it with them.
yeah, I think that's fair. They could have very easily avoided it. We could have avoided it, split it.
I'm good with that. Like I said, I'm trying to take steps to resolve that issue so them don't get buried again.
Second,
If they don't vote for it, what happens?
no,
there's,
50% of something's better than 100% of
Request,
nothing.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
what happens? No,
there's nothing, yeah.
they
All
don't
right,
like
so we have a standing motion. Let me get the exact amount, so we're all on the same page. Was it 808?
85.
85.
443.
443?
404.43.
404.43. Standing motion. Ed Petro, 404-43, motion by Collins, second by Contos, correct?
Yep,
Roll call.
correct.
Collins.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz.
Yeah.
Anything else for service before Henry? All right. Thanks, sir.
Thanks.
Takes us to safety. Chief.
So I did not send an email out this week with the call numbers, but they are in your mailboxes. I don't know if you've seen them yet or not. We had 117 calls for service past 2 weeks. In addition to that, we've got several felony level cases that the department's working on right now, working its way through investigative into the court system. In addition to that, we've been doing directed patrols on East Nassau, East Walnut, due to traffic complaints. And we've been seeing a significant number of drivers cited for excessive speeds.
I've seen you guys have them pulled over.
Yeah, over 50 miles an hour, a lot of them. So, in addition to that, we've applied for 2 grants, one for the flock cameras, one for new tasers for the department, through the State of Ohio JAG grant for law enforcement. Those were submitted today and close out tomorrow. They should be hopefully some type of an award announcement within the next 2 months or so. Fiscal officer guys here has been working with us pretty closely to get us the information that we need on that. And other than that, that's pretty much about it for right now.
I got a question for you guys. Have you been seeing much of the off-road vehicles running around?
A lot of the cases we're working right now are involving some of those.
Okay.
So yeah, we've
Well, that answers that.
obviously been cracking down on that, but yeah, we've
That's a tough thing to do because
yeah. Well, and again, it's there's a lot of stuff going on with it.
Yeah.
You know, with the city of Canton owning the Brickyard right now, those
Yeah.
are just trespassing tickets. But when they start doing stupid stuff, obviously that escalates things. So, but yeah, that's kind of the issue that we're having.
to ask.
Yeah.
Cool. Glad to hear that.
Anything else?
That's good.
All right.
Chief, just to confirm, you will be picking up the, some additional patrols on Orchard.
That is correct. Yes, we will try to start to focus on that a little bit. I think we're seeing things kind of slow down on the others, not significantly, but enough to where we can probably pull some people and start kind of focusing over on the side rooms now.
Now, they still got your guys' permission to hide in the lot, right?
Oh, they can sit on my porch. I
Well,
see it right from my porch. I don't have to even leave my porch.
You ought to take up some ice
But
tea or
they should have
something.
put it the other, actually, it should have been on the other side of the road because
Yeah.
that's where they,
Well, that, I remember that was the deal last time. They didn't
Yeah.
get permission to park, so if they got your guys' permission.
like, it seems like they'll come down the road, the police will come down the road and then,
Well, and that's what we see everywhere. I mean, obviously, we're driving
I mean,
around
that's
in
like
in a vehicle that everybody's going to see. They're going to
Yeah.
slam on their brakes as soon as they see us.
Exactly.
So, and there's not, unfortunately, in that area, there's not a lot of areas to kind of hide around.
I mean,
So,
there's a little bend right in front of those apartments where the sign is. They could probably sit right there. They never. But I don't know.
we'll try to
It's
get creative.
It's mostly the young kids, you can tell. Because the last council meeting that I left, next day he laid rubber 12 feet,
12
So-
feet?
at least,
Probably watched the meeting, said all she heard.
probably. And he only did it because I was on the porch and the other lady was at the garbage.
Preacher kids, you know, his dad's
He
a
is.
preacher.
He's a preacher's kid.
Right, Kath, you know, keep-
Why don't they park on the other street? Why don't they park on?
I don't.
It's too far for them to walk.
How's our traffic cameras coming? When are we?
They,
Progressing.
They should be in right on schedule. We're looking sometime in August. They've got our portable ordered, so that should be in here shortly as well. So everything is moving according to schedule.
Warnings probably in September, tickets probably in October. All right, judicial.
Okay, we've got ordinance 2025-17. An ordinance to appoint Owen Geisy as a part-time employee with the Village of East Canton Service Department and establishes hourly rate of pay at $20 per hour. Be it ordained by the Council of the Village of East Canton, State of Ohio, Section 1, East Canton Village Council, Stark County, Ohio, upon the recommendation of the East Canton Village Administrator, does hereby authorize and approve the appointment of Owen Geisy as a part-time employee with the Village of East Canton Service Department, effective upon their passing a drug test, an hourly rate of pay of $20. And with all the prerequisites of a part-time service department employee is set forth in the East Canton Village Employees Handbook. The hiring shall be on a one-year probationary period, and council does hereby further authorize the East Canton Village fiscal officer to do all things necessary to accomplish the purpose and intent of this ordinance. Section 2, the village fiscal officer is hereby authorized to draw warrants on the village treasury for payments from any of the respective appropriations and accounts for salaries or wages for persons employed by authority of and in accordance with law or ordinance. Be it further ordained, is hereby found determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the passage of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and any of its committees that result in such formal action were meetings open to the public in compliance with the law. Be it further ordained that this ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, convenience, and welfare of the village of East Canton, and shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and at the earliest date allowable by law. So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yay.
Condos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yay.
Condos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz.
Third and final reading of ordinance 2025-17 by title only. An ordinance to appoint Owen Geisy as a part-time employee with the Village of East Canton Service Department and to establish his hourly rate of pay at $20 per hour. So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yay.
Condos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz.
We got resolution 2025-09. A resolution terminating the appointment of Thomas
Is that
Cord.
the correct resolution?
it is.
Okay.
That was my mistake. I was copy and pasting.
Sorry for the interruption.
A probationary service department employee. Be it resolved by the Council of the Village of East Canton, Stark County, Ohio, whereas on February 3rd, 2025, by ordinance 2025-05, Village Council appointed Thomas Cordray to the position of part-time service department employee, subject to the qualifications set forth in the East Canton Village Employee Handbook. Whereas upon recommendation of the village administrator and with the consent of the full council, Thomas Cordray, while in the status as probationary employee, is hereby terminated effective immediately. So,
He's terminated?
Yes.
I'll second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yay.
Condos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Anything else for judicial?
that's all I have tonight, sir.
Councilman Collins. Takes us to finance.
For finance, I'd like to make a motion to approve invoices in the amount of $59,612.14 as presented by Fiscal Officer Geis. And I'll throw in there that in this one, you've got the paving in front of the park, Noble Street, Noble Browning, Walnut, Hartford and Noble, and them street signs Henry put up.
That's White Tiger.
Yeah. Yeah, that was 39,924, the paving, and street signs was 528, but that's why it's that amount.
Thank you.
Roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Condos.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve payroll from 6/1/25 to 6/14/25 in the amount of $15,872.32 as presented by Fiscal Officer Geis.
Second.
Two.
Julie, Collins got that one.
No problem.
Roll call, Collins.
Yay.
Condos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz.
And I would like to make a motion to approve payroll from 6/15/25 to 6/28/25 in the amount of $20,695.83 as presented by Fiscal Officer Geis.
Second.
Roll call Collins.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz.
That's all for tonight.
Very good, thank you.
We have to sign those.
Yes.
Others are being passed around. In the meeting packet, the appropriations report is attached. This officer has provided that. I encourage council to review at your convenience. Come back with any questions. Kurt, that was given to the department managers as well, right? Anything else for finance? Good. Anything for other? So everyone's aware, I am on vacation in 2 weeks. So Council President Baloo will be presiding over the next council meeting. If there are any issues, as always, my phone will be on me.
Where are you going?
I'm going to South Carolina.
I mean, being busy.
I'm going to South Carolina. Enjoy the ocean a little bit.
I thought he was going to business.
No, not this time. September will be good. But, all right, anything else for other?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. You're about out of a job, man.
Don't care.
Roll call Collins.
Yeah.
Contos.
Yeah.
Where's Charlie?
Dan.
Yes.
Amstutz.
Must have missed that.
So, I totally forgot.
We have a generator over there.